Hello and welcome to Bryan Living and Learning. I'm Alan Brugman from the City of Bryan's Communications Department.
And I'm Sandy Ferris with Bryan ISD. Today we'll show you how one of our elementary schools honors our military, and we'll show you how some Rudder students are getting some hands-on real-world construction experience.
And we'll take you behind the scenes to the very first planning meeting of the 2011 Texas Red Steak and Grape Festival, which this year has moved to October. And we have two different stories on how BTU handled the recent power outages that had to occur due to a winter storm. The first story we'll show you is behind the scenes at BTU's Dispatch Control Center, and we'll tell you how they handled those blackouts.
A little after 5 o'clock, we were notified that we were going into an emergency situation. Then they called back a little bit later, and actually we went into rolling blackouts.
ERCOT only tells BTU how much power to cut. They don't tell them how or where. That's up to BTU.
We have a plan in place to where you have certain feeders that you start taking out, and it's broken up by load, by your megawatts on your feeders. And so whenever they tell us how much of the portion of load that's going to be shed, then we have a number that we figure in, and we have to have a total amount of megawatts shed to equal our portion. You have some feeders that you want to try to leave on that have hospitals and other critical structures on them.
When you're cutting someone's power off, it's a balancing act. You don't want to target one area too much, too often, or too long.
We do try to go through the grid and see, and we'll write it down, and also, you know, take notes on how long they've been out and everything, and try to get them back on within a reasonable amount of time. And it usually runs about 15 to 20 minutes, and sometimes it was longer. Sometimes it was 45 minutes, you know, up to an hour.
So how can you help in emergency situations to help reduce the load on ERCOT's grid?
During these times that we have emergency situations, it would help if the public would turn off all non-essential items, maybe turn down their heaters some a little bit, and that would help some. But anything that's non-essential that could be turned off or unplugged would help us out a lot.
The Dispatch and Control Center is for more than just emergency times. It's used for day-to-day operations.
Here in the Dispatch Control Center, we monitor our electrical grid for Bryan and parts of Brazos County, parts of Robertson County, some in College Station, and monitor on a 24-hour period, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
So if you were wondering where your call goes when you report a power outage, look no further than right here.
It actually comes to us, and if it's during the day, we'll call out crews that are already out in the field. They will go and take care of any problems that we have to get the people back on as fast as we can.
BTU provides service to a large area, and they have to keep a close bird's eye view on each and every customer.
This is going to be distribution lines right here. You're going to have a substation with lines coming out of it, and they're actually each substation is going to have a different color line coming out, and it's going to represent, also has a number associated with the feeders, and that's going to tell you what feeder it is and where it goes by following it on your geographical map. And just take, for instance, this one right here. It's the purple feeder. It's 1012, and it actually covers William Joel Bryan Parkway up into Boonville. Okay, this is going to be our transmission board, and it shows in a little bit more detail what we had over on the distribution board. It's going to show our substation yards, and it's going to show our transmission lines that go from substation to substation.
Well, Alan, it's been an interesting couple of weeks with all the cold weather issues, but we're glad that the impact to the schools was minimal.
Yeah, and I know the staff members over at BTU are also glad to be done with these rolling blackouts. They did tell us it was rare. They said this has only happened 3 times in the last 25 years. And they also said they're very happy that they don't have to fix any of their generation units.
Well, for the past 13 years, students at Sul Ross Elementary have honored military members by presenting their annual Valentines for Vets program.
Every year for Valentine's for Veterans, it's a whole school event. I'm really just a tiny little part because everybody works really hard together. The kids learn, the whole school learns the songs and the music. They make the Valentines in art. We have teachers that participate in skits.
Lift your head and hold it high. Lift your head and hold it high. USA is marching by. USA is marching
We have Miss Sigler, and now Miss Sigler's daughter is with her, twirling. This year we had 4 second graders. It's always a second grade program. We had 4 second graders that did gymnastics. And it's just a school-wide event. They always do sign language every year and try to have just something a little different each year.
Here's the flag that Fred Brown flew over the Capitol for Mr. Morgan. And he also sent this beautiful certificate, and on the certificate it says, "This certifies that the Texas flag herewith presented by Representative Fred Brown was flown at the Capitol of the sovereign state of Texas in honor of Mr. Glenn Morgan, a survivor of the USS Indianapolis. Thank you for your service during World War II."
My father-in-law, Al Hansen, is a veteran, and he does a really good job of contacting members of the VFW and of the American Legion. And then we have quite a lengthy list, starting with the Corps out at A&M, and then the recruiting offices and the Army Reserves, and we just send out invitations and letters asking them to come. Every year we make 500 Valentines. Half of them are circulated around local VA hospitals, and then they'll go to Marlin and to Waco, and then the other half goes overseas to Afghanistan.
Well, the whole presentation just gets more spectacular every year, and we as World War II veterans appreciate it more and more and more, and it just absolutely is out of sight what Mary and the teachers in this school and the school itself and the students have done for us, and both of us sat here with tears streaming down our eyes in several parts of the program. I hope that our presence here influences these young children to be more patriotic, realize that we live in the greatest nation in the world, and that the freedoms that we enjoy were preserved and are still preserved by men and women in the armed forces. We were ready to go, ready to serve, and the young men and women today are doing the same thing, and they're just taking over where we left off.
I agree with that, and he said about everything I would like to say. But these children here are the future of our country, and how they go is how our country goes. And getting an education and doing these kind of programs like they're doing today, I think helps a lot to guide those children through. And like I've already said, their pathway to happiness is a good education.
Sandy, it's neat to see those kids show their appreciation for the veterans.
It really is. The students spend a lot of time creating those Valentines every year, and as you saw, more than 500 Valentines are delivered to veterans not only in the VA hospitals, but many of them are shipped overseas as well.
Next, we'll take a look at how BTU got out the information to the City of Bryan citizens when those rolling blackouts started occurring. They used us in the communications department and our social media websites. When the ERCOT ordered rolling blackouts started on Wednesday, February 2nd, many customers had either just left for work or about to leave their homes. That was also the case for members of Bryan's communications department. The first press release alerting residents to the rolling blackouts was sent around 8:30 a.m. Several more quickly followed. It was at that time that the communications department decided to be more proactive with the notifications. A press release was sent out telling residents to log onto the city's Facebook and Twitter pages to receive up-to-the-minute information on where the rolling blackouts would occur next. By the end of the day, 44 different updates had been posted to the city's Facebook and Twitter pages, resulting in more than 188,000 post views, a number that is 2.5 times the amount of residents in Bryan. And the public embraced the updates, responding to the posts with 205 interactions of their own. Here's a sampling of some of the comments. From Jackie Dombrowski, "Thanks for keeping us updated. Y'all are doing a great job." And from Beverly Harper, "This is great. Thanks to whomever is manning the input on Facebook." And from Debbie Hernandez, "I really appreciate this info. Way to go, COB." By the end of the day, the city's Facebook likes had gone up by 582 users, and the Twitter followers had increased 109. If you're still not following Bryan on Facebook or Twitter, you can do it all at facebook.com/cityofbryan and twitter.com/cityofbryan.
Well, Alan, the social media tools have really come in handy the last couple of years as it helps us notify parents and the public of situations very quickly.
Yeah, I know the City of Bryan follows Bryan ISD on both Facebook and Twitter, so we can keep up to date with what's going on at the school districts. If there's anyone out there who's not following y'all yet, how do they find you on the web?
Facebook.com/BryanISD, and then our Twitter account is twitter.com/BryanISD. Well, Rudder construction students are working on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for the Brazos Valley Affordable Housing Corporation. Here we see how they're getting some real-world experience.
It takes plans, money, skill, and a lot of work to turn a pile of lumber into a house. With funding from the Brazos Valley Affordable Housing Corporation, a small construction class at Rudder High School has been offered an opportunity to experience home construction firsthand.
Some years back, we created the Brazos Valley Home Consortium. It's a program of contiguous units of government made up of the Brazos Valley Council of Governments to get federal funding, home investment partnership funding, to do affordable housing in the 7-county region. And this is one of 9 school districts that we've worked with over the years to build houses. We feel it's a win-win situation. The students get to learn an employable trade, a living wage trade, and then we get a product on the backside that we can sell to a qualified low-income family. Then we recycle that money in the community for additional houses. The partnership between the school district and the Affordable Housing Corporation is good because the school district didn't out money for the materials. They provide the instructor and they provide the curriculum and the location, and then we provide the materials. And at the end of the semester, whatever stage of completion they have it, we'll bring a house mover in and move it to a permanent location for final finish out and transfer of ownership.
Well, the benefits for these kids is what you're seeing. They get to actually do hands-on activities, and it's something that needed to be, and here with the program, and the kids seem to love it. They're really active and wanting to do it. It's kind of like when we stood up our first wall. They wanted to stay after school to make sure we got it up, and they did. They stayed after, we got it up, and they had fun. And I have more interest in other students coming up through the program.
I like all the teamwork skills because we all have to learn how to work with each other, and I like that. To be honest with you, I never thought I could do it, but seeing the process and everything, I think it's a possibility.
Well, Sandy, that's a really neat project because it teaches those students a very valuable skill.
It really does, and it's also a service to the community, so it's a great project.
Next, we'll show you a behind-the-scenes look at one of the very first planning meetings for the 2011 Texas Red Steak and Grape Festival. What can you expect during the 2011 Texas Red Steak and Grape Festival? That's what this room of people are planning during their bi-weekly Texas Reds meetings that started in February. We can't give out too many details until they're finalized, but we can tell you some of the exciting things that have been discussed. Of course, there will be great steaks and Texas wines and live music entertainment. But this year there are also plans to team up with the Mary Crowley Cancer Research Center for a 5K run and a benefit golf tournament at the Travis B. Bryan Municipal Golf Course. And if you're a huge Aggie football fan, you've probably already checked the schedule and noticed that A&M is playing Texas Tech in Lubbock on October 8th. Well, organizers have something for you too. They're tentatively planning a tailgate section at Texas Reds, complete with food and drink, and of course, big screen TVs to watch the Aggies. Another change involves the popular Kids Zone area. Organizers have decided to move that setup onto Main Street or Bryan Avenue to keep the festival's overall footprint smaller. In addition to those changes, the brand graphics of Texas Reds are getting a facelift, so expect a new look soon.
Well, Alan, not only is it going to be moved to a different time, it sounds like there's going to be some new attractions as well.
Yeah, the organizers are hoping that the 2011 Texas Red Steak and Grape Festival is the best one yet.
Well, that's all the time we have today. I'm Sandy Ferris.
And I'm Alan Brugman. Thanks for watching.